This is an Arma 3 tutorial on how to lock a door to a building and then use a keycard object from an add-on to gain access. So first I'm going to show you what the end result is going to look like. So here I am a blue floor soldier and I need to gain access to this CSAT facility. So I walk up, I do not have a keycard. I get a hint with a beep, restricted area, scan keycard for access. I attempt open and it will not open. Now I've placed the keycard over here in the box. Okay, now I want to wait for that hint to roll off real quick. I can tell you the mod is called VoP Items, and the mission of mine which uses this exact setup is called the Lightning Strikes, and that's also by VoP, and they're in the workshop. Okay, the hint is fading away. I walk up, no hint, and I'm into the doors. Alright, go back out. I'm going to drop the key card and double check that the doors are locked. And again, we cannot get through, and I get the hint and the beep. So if you're like me, you research this, you tried to figure out what other people did, and you can try to add an action to the door, you can try to have it auto open, and everything was kind of just clumsy. I couldn't get it to work. It was frustrating. So what I ended up doing is just the presence of the card in your inventory will either unlock or lock the door, and the player can just use the normal open action. It was just much simpler. So that's what I did. So there's really 4 steps to make this work. The first thing you want to do is you need to figure out the name of the building and assign it a name in game the way you would name like your player 1. So here we're standing in front of this building, this dome, and I've used this command to nearest objects, and I'm about 30 meters out, and I scroll through a bunch of stuff and I see there's this thing called dome big F. So it gives me a kind of an idea what to look at, and then I go into the Arma community wiki, and I, all the buildings are here, and I can pretty much search on dome, and here it is, land dome big F. So I'm pretty sure that's what my building is called. Okay, so now I'm in my editor, and I like to use scripting to do almost everything I can, just because it's portable from mission to mission. I can copy and paste it over, but sometimes editor is just easier. So we're going to try little bits and pieces of that here. So here I'm in the map, I'm over my building, and I've placed a game logic object, and I have copy and pasted in this land dome big F. So this, for right now, this is what we're looking at right here. Where we're going to try to assign this building to building 1. Okay. So I'm in the game. I have my game logic in, and what we're going to do now is we're going to check and see if it picks up building 1. Building 1. Just check if it's alive. Okay, so we're good. We've assigned it to building 1. Building 1 is alive. We've completed the first part. So the next thing is to figure out what the door names are for our building. A lot of the larger buildings have a lot of doors. So this building has 3 doors. It's got 2 garage-style doors on either side, and then it has a 3rd door which we've been using, and that's like the Star Trek style doors. There's really 2 ways you can do this. You can dive into the configuration editor and look up your building, or you can kind of just Google this, like here would be land dome big F, and come up with some things to test. So the way this building is, it's got 3 doors, 1, 2, 3, and Arma calls the side doors door 1. So it has this variable BIS disable door 1, and for the garage doors, which we're not using, it would be 2 and 3. So here we've got 1 is locked and 0 is unlocked. So after we set our building name, we're going to right off the bat lock the door. Obviously, we want to start the doors, in this case, locked. All right, now we're going to test this door. Now, really, this is one of the most frustrating parts of this, is figuring out your door. So, okay, we started this locked, and as far as I know, all doors in Arma start unlocked. So, all right, so it won't open. Okay, now let's just check. I'll show you. These are the side doors, and again, these should start unlocked, and they're unlocked. Okay, so we've confirmed that we have the building name and we have the correct door. Again, locked. Step 3 is to place your trigger in the editor. So this is a 3-meter trigger. You notice too that this is a round building, but on the map it's square. So it takes a little bit of trial and error to go back and forth between in-game and get your trigger centered properly on the door. So, but we're centered here, and it's a 3-meter trigger. Here we have blue 4 present triggers it. It's obviously repeatable. And it's not server only, which means any client that's playing will activate the unlocking function. So I will dive more into the details here, but basically activate calls a script with some logic to unlock, and when you move away from the door, you deactivate, then the door relocks. All right, now we're in the program. This file, as I said, is keyCard.sqf. It starts off accepting the list from the trigger. And so again, this is every player which is in a 3-meter radius. We're looking for this particular object. So this add-on is VoP Items. So it's prefixed with VoP. So VoP keyCard East is what the keycard is called. And what this is going to do here, it's going to go through and it's going to look into the magazines of every player that was returned, and if it finds a keycard, it's going to count it. And so obviously if we have one or more, then it's going to execute this function, which should look familiar. This is the building, this is our attribute, our variable, and then 0 again is unlock. So if it finds a card, it's going to unlock. And then I have this last piece here. This basically is, if it doesn't find the card, it's going to pop any message that you want. And this little piece here is because if you're the server and you also bring along some AI players, you don't want this message popping up on your screen a bunch of times if the AI player is halfway across the screen. So this stops that from happening. So basically, if we have the card, unlock the door. If we don't have the card, pop the message. Very simple. Now, if you're not familiar with functions in Arma, this is the time to learn about them, because this is a perfect situation for them. So my program's keyCard.sqf, and again, I'm going to name this function. I use rwwfnc as a prefix, so this is the command that I put in my init.sqf to make this a function, so it can call it over and over again and not have to compile it every time. And you could have hundreds of these if you want listed in your init.sqf. So that's it. That's the 4 steps. Assign the name to your building, figure out the door name you want to use, create the trigger in the editor for the door, and write your unlock function. How you use it from here is up to you. Like I said here, you could place it in a box, or alternately, like here for example, I placed it on a guard, so I had to kill the guard and take the key card off the card, and here it's on his uniform. So it's basically however you want to script it within your mission. Another custom thing I did for this mission was I noticed that these doors, let me get this card again, were not closing. So I unlock it. This is like kind of a high security area, and then the doors just stayed open, which is not really real life. So I added something for the custom needs of this mission to reclose the doors after about 4 seconds. So let me show you that. So back in my init server, and I just basically create this so it spawns off this action. So this while true here just makes it run nonstop for the life of the mission, and it runs every 4 seconds. And this door, again, this is one of those things where it takes a lot of trial and error. Uh, these doors have an animation, these particular Star Trek style doors, and if you notice, if you think about it, there's two of them. One opens left, one opens right. So there's two animations, and I just Googled this and figured it out. Um, and so what this basically says, if the door animation is 1, which is open, then close it. So 1 open and 0 close. So every 4 seconds, it's gonna give the impression that you walk through it and it closes behind you. So again, these little kind of things are, just these little custom things you'll need for your mission after you get the 4 core steps down. So I want to talk about the VoP Items add-on for a while. I am VoP. I am the author of this add-on. So, here's some of the items that are on the list. You can see here's the key cards I have in there. There's red, there's blue, there's green. Other people have requested some other stuff, so I threw in some variations. So in game, the blue could show as police ID, or it could show as just key card. There's guard ID, military ID, police ID. So I mean, you can do so many things with this. You can get into police headquarters, get into military headquarters, lock a door behind you. All kinds of stuff you can do with it. So anyway, that's how you do it. Leave comments or questions for me, and Arma on.